Hey, this is Ricky, and we are back for another exciting episode of the hashtag Wednesday Match Play. I am pumped for tonight's guest. One, because this is a pretty big brand that we're dealing with here, but because if you just go to their website, you're going to see a laundry list of golf courses that they're involved with. And the gentleman we have with us tonight is only responsible for a very small segment of those, but the tour itself is I don't know as much about it as I would like to, and that's the point of episodes like this. And I'm really excited to meet our guest and to learn more about the Golf Channel Amateur Tour. And with me tonight is Rick Adamek, and he's from the Golf Channel Amateur Tour. And versus me trying to explain exactly what he does and what his title is, I'm going to turn it over to him and let him explain a little bit more about that. So, Rick, welcome to the Wednesday Match Play.
Oh, thanks for having me, Ricky. It's great to be on your show, and looking forward to introducing the golf community at Google Plus here to the Golf Channel Amateur Tour.
So tell me about the tour. Give me a little bit of a background of what it is, where it started, who plays on it. Like, act as if we just stepped on an elevator and you've got a couple of minutes to explain to me, and I say, what is the Golf Channel Amateur Tour?
Yeah, that's a great question. We get it all the time. And what the Golf Channel Amateur Tour is basically a fantasy camp for golfers. I guess is a great explanation, or a good way to explain what the Am Tour is. It's basically a golf league on steroids that is national in scope in every major metropolitan area. We do not have people that are aspiring to become professionals. That's kind of me and you and everybody and anyone that likes to play golf more in a competitive environment. And we treat them like you see on TV. You know, it's like a professional amateur tour where you're announced on the tees, you're, have electronic scoring, you have trophies, you win every event, and you can make it anything you want, meaning that it can be as big as you want it to be or as little as you want it to be. We have local events that are single days. We have 2-day events that are national, and we have a national championship that culminates at the end of each season. Where we identify champions in seniors and open flights. And it's all based on handicap, and it's all gross within your flight. So you can be a 2 handicap, you can be a 22 handicap, you can be a 10, and you only play against people of your similar skill level. So that's something we found sets us apart from a lot of our competition, that you're not getting strokes. It's not a net division or net event. And it's been very popular over the last few years. I've been involved for the last 15 years working this, and it's grown substantially. We're fantastically lucky to be working with the Golf Channel, and I enjoy it very much. Had an affiliation with them since 2007, and great for our players and great for the tour. And I think we're only going to grow bigger and better as we move on.
That's really cool, and to the point that it lets the guys that aren't aspiring to be PGA or LPGA Tour professionals, like, it lets us have a place to be competitive. I played high school and college golf, and I do miss that competitive edge a little bit. And a buddy of mine, we play together all the time, and he always plays the beat Ricky game, and he's got a little bit higher of a handicap than me, and it's always still fun to see if he can, and he actually will challenge me a little bit when we first get started, because I have this tendency to bogey the first hole every time we play, no matter where we play. But it's cool that there's a tour like this out there. So, one, if I wanted to get started and I wanted to participate, what are the, I guess this is kind of a multi-part question, like what are the processes of getting started? Sure. And then what are the costs involved with me as a golfer from where I sit now to playing in my first event?
Sure. Well, it's real simple to get involved. All you would do is go, as everything is nowadays, go on the internet, go to gcamtour.com, which is our homepage website. That stands for Golf Channel Am Tour, obviously. But you would go there and click Join Now. Yearly membership is $199 the first year, and then you would renew. It's good for 12 months from the day you sign up. So if you don't come across a tour until June, it's not like you're going to miss half the season. You're good from June to June. But you would go to gcamtour.com, register there for $199. Just fill out a profile, and you get a handicap service. You get awesome Golf Channel logo. See that? Items that come with your member pack. We ship a hat and a shirt and some of those items along with your membership. But then after that, you would use the website to sign up for any of the either local events or 2-day majors that we operate. And the price points on those events are anywhere from, a single day event locally could be $75 to $90, and 2-day event, depending on where it's held, can be, you know, a couple $100, and then a 4-day national championship, obviously, you know, $600-700, I think, last I checked on the nationals.
It's not actually that bad. I mean, really, if you think about it, I mean, the ability to play in these events that are organized, and I mean, the aspect of, like, you know, the being announced on the first tee and the digital scoreboards and all that, like, that seems like a pretty reasonable price point to be able to introduce this to a golfer, and the annual fee is affordable as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, we know that we could be more expensive, but we don't believe that's the right thing to do. We like our price point where it's at. We think that we offer a really good service to the player. A portion of that entry fee is obviously put into the prize pool for trophies and gift certificates. The top 25% of each flight wins gift cards at each tournament. So we enjoy that. We also work with a lot of our sponsors to give some of the items back to the players when they register for events. You know, we work with Club Glove and True Links, and obviously Strixon is our title sponsor right now. So you're going to see a lot of those items when you come and play in our events as well.
That's really cool. So Eat Sleep Golf, who is the presenting sponsor of the hashtag Wednesday Match Play, pretty much wanted to run the show tonight, and I have about 10 questions from them. So let's just get started with their questions. They said that it's an impressive achievement to be the #1 amateur tour in North America. What exactly does that look like in terms of the reach, and how many different regions are you in? How many events per year, and how many players? So overall, how big is this tour?
Currently, we're just over 6,500 paid members. So I believe last year, and I, you know, I'm worried about the political fact checking here, but I think we did about 55,000 rounds last year. And, you know, we do hold over 700 events around the country, and we're in every major metropolitan market. So if you look up any, I mean, you know, New York, we actually have a Long Island and a Hudson Valley tour because it's such a big area. We're out in Hawaii, we're down in Puerto Rico, but you know, Tampa, Orlando, Jacksonville, I mean, South Florida, we're in every major metropolitan area in the U.S. So it's important for us to, you know, offer that availability for our players. And the nice feature for the tour is if you live in New York and you're traveling to Florida, you can go and play anywhere around the country as long as you're a member. So, you know, somebody could opt to play 1 or 2 rounds a year if they join a tour. They could play 20 or 30 rounds or more. We have people that are what I call golf goofy, and they'll play Saturday in Tampa and Sunday in Orlando. And, you know, hey, more power to them. But we find it's more of a social kind of thing than almost anything. I mean, like you're saying, where can you compete, you know, as you get out of college and grow older and in the sport that you love, and golf certainly affords us that. And it's a nice feature that you can go and play as much as you want and compete and see your buddies and play against them. And like you said, you know, try to beat your buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. So why should amateurs play on this tour, and what sets this tour apart from other amateur tours out there? Because, I mean, there's tons of them. Here in Scottsdale, I mean, there's 10 different organizations or little pocket tours that you can get involved with. So what kind of sets it apart, and why should I get involved with this tour?
Well, I mean, I'll be honest, it's not for everyone. I mean, it's just for people that want to see how their game travels. You'll see folks that come out and play on tour, and you could certainly give us a test drive. You don't have to be a member. You could always contact the local director and play one event, see how it looks, see what the setup's like, all that kind of stuff. But for those that are looking to see how their game travels and not just, you know, playing my same course every weekend and against the same guys every weekend, you want to get out and see, okay, does my 9 handicap really translate to a 9 handicap all around the state and the different courses? So it's for those folks that want to go out and play different courses, see different things. Certainly for people that want to meet different folks, because you're going to get paired up with different people every time you go out and play. So there's that element. You know, if Tiger doesn't like Phil and they're playing together, they got to learn to get that's part of that matchup and that pairing that day. And same thing with our tour. I mean, you go out and you meet new people, and it's nice to see, you know, a plumber, you know, in the same, you know, foursome as a doctor, and they would never be paired together any other time. And you just meet people from different walks of life and different personalities, and it's nice to see those relationships develop over time.
That's really cool. And I'm talking about Tiger and Phil. There's a guy in my office who's Phil's biggest fan. I'm Tiger's biggest fan, and yeah, we have that in the kitchen at work where we have that
Yeah.
that battle back and forth. So Eat Sleep Golf said that they love the fact that the events are broken down based on handicaps, which I think is an awesome idea. Is there a specific flight that tends to get more enrollment than others, and who out of all of that is your target demographic?
Well, our target demographic is definitely a male golfer. I would say we're typically 96, 97% male, not by design, because we are open to female and to juniors, to seniors. It doesn't matter, but it just tends to be, what the golfing demographic is for our tour. We are a bell curve, just like the general population. There's a smaller percentage of singles or scratches, and there's a smaller percentage of 25 plus handicaps. And we kind of swell in the middle, where probably 8 to a 15 handicap is typically our tour player. And we realize that. So what we do is we have the flights broken down into 3.9 segments of handicaps. So you have a 0 to 3.9 is our championship flight, and 4 to 7.9 is we call our Palmer flight. And 8 to 11.9 would be the Hogan, 12 to 15.9 Sayers, and 16 to 19.9 is Jones, and then 20 plus is our Snead flight. And it's all gross within those flights once you're in those flights. So it is a big thing for us is to track those handicap indexes, not only for tour events that we operate, but also for outside rounds. So we actually track 2 different indexes to eliminate any kind of sandbagging potential. And it's been a long time since we've had issues with that, after we got into our 2 handicap kind of setup that we have now.
That's really cool. And then the sandbagging thing, I can see that, especially whenever you're playing with buddies, that can become, I'm a 15 handicap and I just shot 74.
Well, when people first come to our event, we don't, we look at their outside index and we verify it, obviously. But then when they play on our tour, we automatically post their rounds to our indexes. And then we move people on a monthly basis from flight to flight. So you're not going to see people, getting through the system on a regular basis or even very often. And to be honest, we're an amateur tour, so it doesn't pay off. It really doesn't. So you're winning gift certificates and you're winning trophies. And for somebody to try to cheat the system, it just doesn't work.
It doesn't even make sense, like why you would even want to.
It doesn't. And we just don't see a lot of it. And knock on wood. But I think it's also because we kind of settled into those 2 index system, where we have an outside index that includes outside rounds, but we also have an AM tour index that takes care of just the rounds played on our tour. We know that nobody's giving putts or getting mulligans or taking breakfast ball off the tee or anything.
I have been known to take a short and give a short putt, so I would have to go back to my high school and college days and finish those out if I was playing. So what's the process for a course? Let's say that I'm a course owner or general manager and I want to host an event. Let's say that I've just decided, hey, that sounds like I have a course that's good enough. Let's do it. What's the process for a facility to get a tour event at their location?
Sure. Well, we obviously hope that we're hitting all the big name tour, golf courses in each metropolitan market as it is. But by all means, if you're an operator and you're looking to get on the Golf Channel AM Tour, you would certainly reach out to the local director. We've got independent contractors in each of the markets. We're in 52 or 54 markets right now. And so you would certainly reach out to them, because they're the ones that set those schedules. They work with folks like myself that are regional directors. I operate the Northeast region. There's a Southeast regional director, Midwest guy, and West Coast guy. And we actually run the 2-day majors. So we're the ones that are approaching the Innisbrooks and the Sawgrasses and the Kiowas, that kind of stuff. But as far as on a local level, the single-day events, you would definitely reach out to your local director.
And I think that after we get off here, I might have you introduce me to the West Coast guy, because I think there are a couple of, I don't know where you guys are at here in Phoenix, Scottsdale. I know that there are a ton of courses that it would make sense, and even a couple that might even make sense for one of those majors that you're talking about. So that's really cool that you have it broken, and that you're so big and so busy that you have to break it out like that to have regional directors, because there are so many different facilities and so many players in this tour.
No doubt, no doubt. We've got a really good director there in Phoenix. You would enjoy meeting him. He's been a lifelong PGA guy and does a great job. They're one of our biggest tours in the country, and he definitely is out in Scottsdale. In fact, we had our national championships there in Scottsdale just 2 years ago. at Talking Stick and use those 2 courses. And then we're also up the road there at, and now I know I'm not going to be able to remember the name, Mickelson's course.
Yeah. I don't want to say it. I don't want you.
Yeah, I know.
Greyhawk is the name of that.
Greyhawk, yes. I apologize. So
that's all right. Go a little further north and get on True North, and then we'll.
There you go. I know. But,
so, any horror stories that have happened, whether it's weather related or nobody showed up, or like, is there any horror story that you've experienced that at the event level that's happened?
We hope not.
I obviously hope not, but I mean, life is life,
National championships, we're always concerned about, the hurricane here and there. One, when we were at Talking Stick 2 years ago, and you might remember this if you were there, they had the largest single-day rain event. It was in September, and I think it was something like 4 or 5 inches in one day out in Scottsdale. And we went to the top of the resort there and looked down, and everywhere that the eye could see was just shining back from the desert. And that's not a good thing, because it's just an inch or 2 of water sitting everywhere. And we actually had to scramble and work very hard with the superintendent to reroute some of the areas from the tee to the fairway, because you could not physically get from a tee box to a fairway. You could hit to it and you could play golf, but there was so much water. I guess out there in the desert, they have to retain so much of the rainwater and reuse it. And they use their driving range for that. And the driving range is completely unusable. So people would come and try to warm up for the round, and you couldn't hit balls, because once you hit them one time, the balls were gone for the week. So we had a hard time explaining to folks, look, you just can't use the driving range, even though it looks like that's a nice watery area out there. The balls will be lost if they would hit into it. So that was a little bit of a trick.
And we don't get rain here very often, so the fact that you were able to see it and then to see that much of it.
Yes, it was an experience. There's no doubt, and the folks that live there and have seen it all, they've all said it's a once in 100-year rain event. So we were fortunate they worked so well with us. And then after that, we had to deal with the bugs that came out in mass force. And I would go to a like a Lowe's, and then I'd go to a Home Depot, and then I'd go to it didn't matter where it was, Walmart. I would just take my arm and get the entire row of bug spray and citronella, and I would pull a cart up and just loading up, every tee box we had, and we give all our rangers and everything, the defoggers and all that, just to try to keep the bugs off everybody. So that was a challenge.
Yeah, I can imagine. So over the last couple of years, the tour has expanded into Canada, and it's been well received. Do you see any future plans for growth, and anything that you would care to share with us today about where you might be expanding into next?
Well, we're always looking to expand the tour where it makes sense, and definitely Canada. We've got a relationship with the largest tour up there. It's branded the Golf Channel Am Tour, which last year was our first year doing that. It's great. We love the Canadians. I actually had an event last year in Niagara Falls on the Canadian side, for a 2-day major, and enjoyed being up there. But we're hoping that they really take root and grow in Canada. There's no doubt about that. Always talk about moving overseas at some point in time if the model works. And, you just never know. The Golf Channel brand is a pretty good brand. And I know we're in Japan and UK, all that kind of stuff. So it would be neat to go overseas, but time will tell there.
So you've already mentioned a couple of the sponsors that you have, but as a part of the Golf Channel, there are a lot of sponsors that are a part of both the tour and the Golf Channel. So who are some of the, little sponsors that aren't maybe the ones that are branded or on the website? Like Strixon, you said, was one. So who are some of the bigger sponsors and some of the smaller guys that you're working with?
We definitely have True Linkswear is a shoe brand. Ryan Moore is I think it's he's the spokesperson for them. They're one of our sponsors. Club Glove obviously is a secondary sponsor. Folks that we deal with, they make the greatest caddy towel that you've ever seen, and obviously, I love their bags for my clubs, and I even have a Club Glove suitcase that haul around just for clothes, all that stuff. So I have those. We have definitely like I mentioned, Strixon. We've got Golf Now, which is a sister company of ours that is, Tee Time provider and Tee Time service. They're a sponsor. So they come and go. There's talk of a rental car company coming aboard, I believe. I think that deal's signed, but has yet to be announced, so I can't really announce that here. But we deal with I would say Kind energy bars, or I guess I would say nutritional bars. So they're at a lot of our events, and I believe those are the ones that come to the top of my head. I know I'm missing one or two, and I'm going to get in trouble for not remembering them, but those are definitely the ones I remember right now. I'm hoping that somebody's going to text me or tweet me while I'm forgetting.
Yeah, if the sponsors are watching, tweet him and let him know.
You got it.
So the tour obviously offers a lot of fantastic courses. One of them, the Eat Sleep Golf guys said that won the event last year at Glen Abbey, which was an exceptional cool to win on a PGA Tour course. What is the selection process for choosing a course to host events? Are there tour events planned at more PGA Tour courses? And I didn't ask this, they did. Are there any Troon courses in the mix?
You know what? If I knew the list of Troon courses, I would be happy to tell you. I'm sure that they operate a bunch of fantastic courses, and to be honest with you, there's a really integral, or I should say, detailed selection process we have for our 2-day majors more than anything. We have 35 of them around the country. I know that it's a big thing for our players to be able to play the courses the PGA Tour plays, like you said. I know we play Kiowa, we play PGA West, which was just on the PGA Tour not long ago. Black Wolf Run, Chambers Bay, Pinehurst, Turning Stone, Stream Song, which is a brand new, real hot course in Florida. But PGA National, even, that's playing this week on the PGA Tour, we'll play there in the fall. It's a multi-course facility, I guess, is a big thing for us when we have 36 or even 54 holes to choose from. But then it starts getting into real details as far as, how does everything fit with our brand? In other words, can we do split tees and get folks off, in the manner that we want to? Can we do threesomes to cut down on pace of play? Can we, offer them the practice facility and the starting times that we need to do to pull off a successful event? So it all depends on how the course works with us, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. A big thing for us is choosing a national championship location, and this year we're lucky with Innisbrook, and I know Innisbrook was Troon for a number of years and all that kind of good stuff. And I was actually lived in Tampa for a long time and was a member at Innisbrook too, and that sets up great for us because they not only have the location on site with where we can do scoring, and we can do a big awards dinner. We have our welcome dinner at National Championships, has 1,200 people at that dinner. So it's a lot of folks that we need to move around, and we need 4 courses, and there's a lot more moving parts to the events than people really think about or realize, and maintenance has to be right, all that kind of good stuff to make it work. But some work and some don't, and we enjoy going to locations year over year, and especially the ones that people see on TV, because it's neat to play where the pros play. There's no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a big thing.
So what is the biggest challenge to the tour when trying to attract amateurs to play competitively? Because I know that could be an issue of somebody, especially if they're a higher handicapper. So what's the thought process that goes into the guys that are a little bit higher of a handicap, trying to get them to come play on the tour?
Well, one of the things that we find is that folks will go out and play, and like I said, against their own buddies or on their home course, and they'll say, hey, I'm a 10 handicap or a 15 handicap, and that's fine. They might know that golf course so well that they are really a 15 handicap on that course. But then when they come out on tour and they're not getting breakfast balls, they're not giving putts, and they don't know how to miss every shot on their home course, they're really not a 10 or a 15, they're really a 15 or a 20. And there's kind of an ego hit. So they got to sit there and say, okay, well, you might have thought you were a 15 before, but you're really more like an 18 or a 20 something. And what I hope happens is that they bear down and practice harder, or really work on their game to get to really be a 15. But sometimes people will, they won't enjoy that hit to their ego, and they might pack it up and go home and say, oh, I really play better than this. Well, what you need to do is play real golf, or I should say rules of USGA rules of golf, and putt out every putt and hit every shot and count every shot. And that's, I think, a big challenge. But you know, I think more than anything, the reason that people, what we hear, they come back for all the time is that camaraderie, and they really enjoy meeting the people, and then they really enjoy hoisting those trophies and, you know, showing their buddies, you know, hey, you know, how'd you get that trophy? You know, you're not that good. Well, I know I'm not that good, but you know what? I'm playing against other people that aren't that good in my flight. And that's the whole genesis, is you don't have to be a 2. You don't have to be a scratch. You can be whatever you really are, but just compete in your own flight.
That's awesome. So to that point though, like playing by the rules and stuff, so like I'll go out and play with my buddies and yeah, I'll take gimmies or whatever. But then when I have to play by the rules, like we have a corporate championship every year, like I play so much better when I do putt out. And when I am playing, like I'm thinking differently and I'm playing differently. Because I think because I played high school and college golf, it helped that. So yep. I would be really interested to see how I would compete like on a tour like this. And I'm absolutely going to look into that, because just the idea of it just really excites me, is playing competitively and not having to worry about being scratch or you know, a plus handicap.
No, you don't, and that's what we hear all the time. Is people are like, hey, you know, I'm not used to playing by the real rules and by putting everything out, all that stuff. It makes you think a lot differently about how, you know, how to play golf, because you're not just, oh, that's good, or I don't have to worry if that goes out of bounds, I'll just throw another one down. When you're playing on the tour, you do. I mean, we're playing USGA rules of golf, so.
So can you share any success stories of players that have gone through the system and played on the tour that have gone on to play professionally? So not everybody has to be a low handicapper, but is there anybody that's kind of come through the ranks and played on the tour that's gone on to play professionally?
Well, we definitely have had people that have gone on to play professionally, to make it on the PGA Tour. I can't say that we've had anybody graduate to that level, but we have people that are going through the, you know, the PGA program, and they'll say, hey, you know, I no longer have my amateur status because I'm now a pro and things of that sort. But a couple guys have gone on and play, you know, try to make it on the mini tours, things of that sort. There's so many of those available nowadays that, you know, they try to. But like I said, we're not really set up for that. That's not really the genesis of what we do. But I guarantee you some of them, the one that most notably comes to mind that became a professional last year is Mark Mulder. If you're familiar with him, you know, former pitcher for the A's and the Cards. He won the celebrity, you know, Salt Lake event, $100,000, you know, and he had played on our tour for a while. And cool. As soon as he was holding that check for $100,000, I said, well, there goes his amateur status. And I think shortly thereafter, he was quoted on tour, or on you know, an interview, saying how much he loved playing on the AM tour. And, you know, it really prepped him and got him ready. And we'll have people that that haven't become professionals, but have made it through, like for the Senior U.S. Open. We've had a couple guys, one guy last year and another guy that did it 2 times, that have actually qualified, you know, through the, you know, the local and regional qualifiers, and then gone and played the Senior U.S. Open, which, you know, best 120, you know, senior golfers in the world, much less country.
Yeah, that's a pretty big deal.
It is a pretty big feat, and we interviewed him live on you know, Golf Channel and everything at the driving range. So that was a pretty cool thing.
So explain the tagline, "I am the AM Tour," because I love that, and I feel like it's got a lot of meaning to it, and especially to the players. But can you explain to where that tagline kind of came from?
Yeah, I mean, a big thing with guys playing on our tour is they really feel a part of the Golf Channel. It's one thing to sit here and look at your TV screen and watch Golf Channel, but, you know, we always felt that our player and the guy that plays on our tour, the person that plays on our tour, somebody that goes out, plays 18 or 36 holes, and then comes home and flips on the Golf Channel because he's thinking about the next 18 or 36 tomorrow. And so we said, you know, there's a big ownership as far as our players go. They really love the tour, and they are the AM Tour. And you know, just like I was kind of joking around before about the logoed items and all that, you'll see guys that will go to a major and get a shirt, you know, to a property, and, you know, with a logo Kiowa on it or something in, you know, 2012, and you'll see them year over year wearing that same shirt. And it's a badge of honor, it's pride. When we move people from flight to flight, we actually give them a Journey to Better kind of bag tag that says, hey, I'm getting better, I'm moving to the next flight. And they'll put those things on, and you'll see them, you know, every time they'll shine those things up and have them on their bag. And, you know, they really are the living, breathing, you know, property of the AM Tour. That's their tour, and they are the AM Tour. They really feel that way.
That's really cool. And I didn't tell you this before we started, but like it goes so fast. We're already at like 30 minutes. But before I let you go, and there are a couple of questions that Eat Sleep Golf didn't get answered, but they're just gonna have to deal because they had a bunch of great questions in there. I want to kick it over and do a little bit more personal stuff with you and golf. You've been with the golf channel and the AM Tour for a long time now, but we do what's called the lightning round. It's just 9 fun questions that are more relevant to you as a golfer. So are you ready for the lightning round?
I'm ready. Bring it on.
What golf ball are you currently playing?
I play Strixon. There's no doubt about that.
I kind of thought you were going to say that.
There you go.
Have you ever had an ace?
I have. I had one at a memorial event in Florida for a top 50 instructor named Dean Hedstrom, and it was a 3-wood, 220-yard par 3.
That's way cool versus like, oh yeah, it was a 94-year, little flip wedge. That's really cool.
2 of my brothers were in the group too, so I didn't have to verify. I mean, I got family verification on that too, so they were able to see it.
Who is your favorite LPGA Tour player?
I would say my favorite LPGA Tour player right now is Jordan Spieth. Oh, LPGA. I'm sorry.
I was like, wait a minute, is there a story there?
LPGA. I'm sorry. Hey, I got my PGAs mixed up. LPGA Tour player. I would say Michelle Wie.
What is your favorite? Yeah, Michelle. I mean, she challenges the kind of the status quo with her fashion, and she's kind of like the Ricky Fowler of the LPGA in that respect.
So tall. Yes.
Who is your favorite? I'm sorry, not who. What is your? So you threw me off with the LPGA thing. What is your all-time favorite golf course that you've played?
Lucky enough to play at October 31st this past year, and it's Pebble Beach.
Oh, was it awesome?
It was as good as it gets, and you can understand why it's ranked #1 in the world. And part of our staff is out there running a tournament this week, and I'm kicking myself wishing I was out there with them, but I'm sure they're doing a great job.
That's really cool that you've had a chance to play there. So Twitter, you're on Twitter, and thank you for the follow, by the way. In 140 characters or less, sum up the Golf Channel AM Tour.
140 characters or less. I would say a fantasy camp for golfers where anybody can compete for prizes and trophies.
I bet that fits. I wasn't going to count because sometimes when I ask that question, they go on for like 3 minutes, and I'm like, it's way over 140 characters. So, what irons are you currently playing?
Oh, well, seeing as I only play 4 or 5 times a year, I'm trying to remember. I've got
I'm trying to remember.
I'm looking over at the set sitting in my office, and those are Callaway Diablos, but those are years old, and they've never been struck. I believe I'm playing some type of Callaways right now. I don't play very much. That's a misnomer. A lot of people think we play tons of golf, and I mean, I travel 30-something weeks a year, and I'm on courses probably 35 weeks a year, but I just don't play that much. I wish I did.
Well, we need to fix that and get you to play more golf. My goodness.
Exactly.
So, well, then if you don't play a lot of golf, this might be a longer list than what I might have hoped. But what is the one course, and Pebble would be on a lot of guys' lists, what is the one course that's on your bucket list that you haven't had the chance to play yet?
Well, Augusta, obviously, is everybody's #1. And I live outside of Charlotte. I'm only a couple hours away from it. I mean, I had a chance to play it, and they got the U.S. Open coming this year, Oakmont. My brother's a member up there, and I've been lucky enough to play there. I mean, I've also played the Ocean Course at Kiowa. I think it's as good as it gets on the East Coast. But one right here in Charlotte, the PGA Tour plays it, and I wish I could play that one, and I wish I could remember the name of it. But that would be another bucket list course. And I'm trying to remember the name of it, and I can't. So
that's all right.
That would be a bucket list course too. Charlotte, the best course in Charlotte.
So we said before we went live that I'm Tiger's biggest fan, and we've seen that he's shut up the rumors and is hitting balls. Whether that was, I have to assume that's in like his basement because he just happens to have a simulator in a room of his house. But yes or no, do you think he breaks Jack's record? Why or why not?
I believe that he does not come back to win the last 4. He's 14 right now, correct?
Yeah, he's at 14.
And he needs 4 more. I think he'll pull a Nicklaus at some point and win another major, but I don't think he's going to get 4 more. I just with the way his body's breaking down, it's just unfortunate. But I do think he comes back and has some degree of success, but not. I mean, look at the fields nowadays and look at the talent on the PGA Tour. It's just outrageous. So, I do think he comes back, and I think we retweeted the same thing today where we both retweeted the simulator, and it's good to see that he is. It's great for golf. I'd love to see him back out there and having success. But it would be great for the game if he did, and he came back and won those last 4 majors. I'm not rooting against him. I definitely think it would be cool to see him do it and get back in shape. So
what I hoped when I saw that simulator video would have been really funny and fitting if he was playing Augusta on the simulator and then he shows up and plays the Masters in April. Like, how cool would that have been?
Did you recognize the hole? I thought maybe it was a hole at Augusta.
It wasn't, and I actually did, and it's funny because I watched that video like 15 times today. That was a par 3 at Aviara Golf Club in Carlsbad, and I recognized the hole right off the bat, and then I went back and I looked, and it's at the top of the video. It says Aviara, and it's funny because that hole, I remember the hole because it's one of their most photographed holes, but when I played there last Thanksgiving Day, and I had a 9-iron short, spun it off the green, and made the putt. So I birdied the hole. So a little connection to that.
Yeah.
But I was talking to the team at Aviara via email today, and I guess Tiger played that course in the past and loved it, and the course was actually on a prior version of the EA Sports game. So I find that fitting that he was hitting balls at Aviara, and the connection there. So
I want to say that we just had or do have an event at Aviara on the AM Tour.
Awesome. Well, it is a fantastic property, and like little things that I'll remember forever. I had a really early tee time, and they had muffins because the restaurant wasn't open, and fresh coffee right there by the practice green. And every time a player's assistant would come by, he would have like a lollipop or a mango towel or what have you. Then when you get finished, you have freshly baked cookies, and I'm like, I don't even eat golf. Like, I just want the snacks. Like, this is awesome. Right. Like, it's a really cool experience. The course is unbelievable, and that's cool that the AM Tour is going to be playing there.
Yeah.
And your final question of your hashtag Wednesday match play is, what's next for the AM Tour?
What's next for the AM Tour? Well, I think that we're always trying to, offer different courses, better courses for the players. So I think we're always looking a year out, if not more, for not only our nationals, but for our majors and 2-day events, because I think the players really like to go to different places and see different ones. We've got a bunch of new courses on the major rotation this year, including, like I mentioned, Stream Song, and I think it's for us, it's a challenge to keep offering new courses and better courses for the players, and always try to give a value to the players when they pay their membership and pay the entry fees to those events. You want to have them coming away and say, hey, this is worth the price of admission. And I think by offering better courses and just working hard at offering the additional selections to the players, that's really what's next.
That's awesome. Well, Rick, thank you so much for coming on the hashtag Wednesday Match Play. Please make sure you introduce me to the West Coast guy. And heck, if he lives here in Scottsdale and Phoenix, I might even know who he is. And as I always like to say when I close the hashtag Wednesday Match Play is, you have to eat, sleep, golf.